The golden retriever appeared out of nowhere, dirty, limping, and staring straight at her like he knew something she didn't. What he had in his mouth made her fall to her knees in the snow. It wasn't food, it wasn't a bone, it was a torn, half-frozen piece of paper, scrawled in what looked like a child's handwriting. Ranger Elena's breath caught as she slowly unfolded it with numb fingers. "My name is Lily. I'm stuck. Please help me. Follow him." Her heart dropped. Somewhere in that endless forest, a child was waiting, or worse, losing hope. The dog whined, turned, and looked back at her. Without another thought, she got up and followed him into the trees, unaware that this journey would change her life forever. What happens next will truly surprise you. But first, if you believe in the power of animals and second chances, hit that like button. And the golden retriever appeared out of nowhere, dirty, limping, and staring straight at her like he knew something she didn't. What he had in his mouth made her fall to her knees in the snow. It wasn't food. It wasn't a bone. It was a torn, half-frozen piece of paper, scrawled in what looked like a child's handwriting. Ranger Elena Marsh could barely unfold it with her gloved hands. Her breath steamed in the frigid air as she read the words, "My name is Lily. I'm stuck. Please help me. Follow him." The forest around her seemed to hold its breath. Elena looked down at the retriever. His fur was caked with mud and brambles, his paws raw from travel. But his eyes, those eyes were full of something she hadn't seen in a long time. Purpose. The dog whined softly and turned back toward the trail behind him, looking over his shoulder. Waiting. She stood slowly, adrenaline now overriding the cold, biting through her jacket. Somewhere out there was a child, alone, injured, or worse. She clicked her radio. Static. Dead. Too far out. She had a choice. Turn back to the ranger station, or follow a limping dog into unknown wilderness with only a scrap of paper and a prayer. She didn't hesitate. "All right, boy, lead the way." It had started as a routine patrol. Elena, 33, had spent the past 5 years working for the Forest Service. She loved the solitude of Bitterroot, the endless snow-dusted pines, the creeks that whispered secrets, the way the mountains breathed. But lately, even the quiet couldn't drown out the noise in her heart. The ache she carried every day since her sister vanished on a camping trip 10 years ago. A case that went cold, a face on a flyer, a promise she couldn't keep. She never stopped looking. Maybe that's why she noticed the dog in the first place. Most people would have ignored a stray, but not Elena. He was at the edge of the trail, just standing there. His fur, once golden and soft, was mottled with burrs and dirt. He didn't bark, he didn't run, he just stared. When she approached, he backed away a few steps, then stopped. Waited, repeated it again. Curious, she followed. That silent chase lasted nearly 20 minutes before he finally dropped the note. And now, here she was, boots crunching snow, heart pounding, following a dog that seemed possessed by something bigger than instinct. The terrain grew rougher. Logs blocked the old path. Animal tracks were everywhere. Cougar, elk, coyote. The forest was alive, but quiet, eerily so. The dog, she began calling him Scout, never slowed. Despite his limp, he moved with grim determination. Elena's mind raced. Who was Lily? How long had she been missing? Could she still be alive? Why hadn't anyone reported this? Then she remembered. This part of the forest was near old hunting grounds, off-grid, barely mapped. Locals sometimes ventured here illegally. Accidents happened. A low howl echoed in the distance. Scout stopped. He turned to her, whimpered, then bolted. "Hey, wait!" She chased him now, slipping over icy roots, ducking low branches. Her legs burned, her lungs screamed. But she didn't stop, because if she did, Lily might run out of time. Scout stopped at the threshold, barking loudly for the first time. Elena skidded to a halt. The cabin looked abandoned, windows shattered, door hanging by a hinge. But there were signs of life, small footprints in the snow, drag marks. Something had been here recently. She entered slowly, flashlight beam cutting through darkness. The air was damp, musty. The floor creaked. Then she saw it, a mitten, tiny, pink, blood-stained. She swallowed hard. "Lily?" she called, voice cracking. No answer. But Scout was pawing at a corner beneath a collapsed beam, whining. Elena rushed over, pulled at the broken wood with gloved hands, revealing a small hollow, empty, but lined with blankets, crumbs, a plastic water bottle. She stood, heart sinking. They had been here, but they were gone now. She turned to Scout. Where did she go? He sniffed the air, barked once, and took off again. And Elena, with tears threatening to freeze on her cheeks, followed him into the falling snow. Her boots crunch through layers of snow as memories flood her mind. The night her sister Emma disappeared, the frantic search, the posters, the silence that followed, the media circus, the dead-end tips, the guilt. She had promised her mother she would bring Emma home, but that was 10 winters ago, and now another girl was out here. She pushed harder. The forest darkened with every step. Scout paused at a ridge's edge, panting. Below, the remains of an overturned sled glinted in the snow. Elena scrambled down, sliding on her hands and knees. The sled was cracked in half, supplies scattered, a doll half buried in snow. She felt a lump in her throat. Then she heard it, a faint cry. "Help!" She froze. "Lily!" "Down here!" Scout barked wildly, circling a rocky outcrop. Elena found a narrow crevice, barely wide enough for a child to fit. She dropped to her knees, pulled out her flashlight. Inside, wedged between stone and frost, was a child. Face pale, lips blue, one leg clearly broken, wrapped in a torn sleeping bag. She looked no older than 7. "You found me," Lily whispered. Elena choked back tears. "Scout found you." Lily reached out and clung to the dog's fur as he licked her face. Elena radioed for emergency evacuation. Still static. She would have to carry Lily herself. "Can you hold on to my neck, sweetheart?" Lily nodded weakly. With trembling arms, Elena lifted her. Scout led the way again. The wind howled now. Visibility dropped. Elena staggered through drifts, clutching Lily close. Scout never wavered. Each step was a battle. Her muscles screamed. But every time she thought she couldn't go on, Lily whispered, "Thank you." They made it back to the ranger outpost hours later. The radio worked again. Rescue arrived. Lily would be okay. And Scout? He curled up at Elena's feet and finally slept. Elena's breath fogged the radio mic as she tried to maintain a calm voice. "Base, this is Ranger Elena Torres. I need backup at Grid 9B. Possible missing person. Repeat, possible child involved." Static answered first. Then came the sharp reply, "Copy that, Elena. Stay put. A team is en route. ETA 45 minutes." But the dog, whom she'd started to think of as Scout, wasn't staying put. Scout barked once sharply, then took off through the snow-covered trail like a dart. Elena didn't hesitate. She followed. The trail curved along the base of the mountain ridge, deeper into the old-growth forest. Each step Elena took was heavier, not just from the snow, but from the pounding weight of dread growing in her chest. The trees around her whispered with the wind, like they'd seen something they couldn't forget. Scout would pause every few feet, looking back to make sure she was coming, then bound ahead again. The piece of paper, now torn and wet, was still in his mouth. They reached a place Elena hadn't visited before. The forest opened into a clearing, and there, like something out of a ghost story, stood an ancient hunting cabin, nearly collapsed on one side. Scout stopped at the front, whining low. Then he turned and pawed the door. Elena's fingers shook as she reached for the handle. "Hello? Is anyone in there?" Silence. The door creaked open. The air inside was heavy, filled with the sharp tang of mold, rusted metal, and something else, something she couldn't quite name. Fear, maybe, or sorrow. Her flashlight cut through the dark. Dust floated like tiny spirits in the beam. Then she saw it. On the far wall, near a broken-down cot, was a smear of red. Old, crusted, but unmistakable. Blood. Elena's heart nearly stopped. Scout went to the cot, sniffed, and whined again. He nosed at the blankets, and that's when Elena saw it. A small pink mitten, children's size. She crouched down and picked it up. It was stiff, frozen, and stained. Then came the scratching sound. From under the floorboards. Elena jumped back, flashlight trained on the wooden planks. Scout growled, low and steady. The scratching stopped. "Hello," Elena said again, her voice barely above a whisper. A thud, then another, and then a child's voice, so faint it was almost a dream. "Help!" Elena dropped to her knees. "Where are you? Can you say that again?" "Down here." Scout barked and began pawing furiously at a section of the floor. Elena pulled her multi-tool from her belt and began prying at the boards. They came loose one by one, revealing a hidden crawl space below the cabin. It was barely large enough for a person to fit, and pitch black. "Lily," Elena called. A small cough. Then, "Yes, I'm coming. Just hang on." She slid into the space feet first, her boots hitting the dirt floor with a soft crunch. The flashlight caught the terrified face of a little girl, maybe 6 years old, pale, thin, and barely conscious. Her legs were twisted at an awkward angle, and her lips were blue from the cold. Elena wrapped her in her jacket and radioed again, her voice shaking. "Base, I have a child. Female, about 6, injured, hypothermic. We need medevac as soon as possible." The wind howled through the trees as the medevac helicopter began its descent. Elena stood in the clearing, holding Lily tightly in her arms. The little girl's eyes fluttered open just long enough to murmur one name. "Scout." Elena looked into the trees. He was gone. Paramedics rushed forward, wrapping Lily in blankets, attaching IVs, checking vitals. Elena tried to stay strong, but her eyes never left the forest's edge. She couldn't shake the feeling that Scout wasn't running. He was leading again. When the helicopter lifted off, Lily's tiny hand reached toward the woods. "Don't leave him," she whispered. "He's hurt." Elena's stomach dropped. She turned to the search team. "There's still someone out there. He saved that girl. And he's not just some stray. He has a purpose." They tried to stop her, told her to wait until morning. But Elena couldn't. The temperature was dropping, and she knew deep down Scout didn't have till morning. She grabbed her flashlight, extra batteries, and an emergency pack and headed back toward the direction Scout had vanished. The forest was pitch black now, the snow falling faster. Her breath came in clouds as she moved, calling his name. "Scout, where are you, boy?" She followed broken branches, paw prints barely visible in the snow. Then, a faint whine. She turned. "Scout," a soft bark answered. She followed the sound down a steep ravine. And there, caught between the rocks, his leg twisted under him, was Scout. He'd led her to Lily and then collapsed on his way back. "Oh my God," she whispered, kneeling beside him. "You came all this way just to save her." She checked his leg. Broken. He whimpered when she touched it, but he licked her hand, still trusting. Elena wrapped him in her jacket, lifted him with effort, and whispered, "You saved her life. Now let me save yours." By the time they reached the ranger station, the snow was a blizzard. But Elena didn't stop. She burst into the station, yelling for the on-call vet they worked with. Dr. Reeves arrived within the hour. His face turned grim when he saw the injury. "Compound fracture," he said, "but we can fix this. He's lucky. You both are." Elena stayed through the surgery, watching through the glass, her hands shaking. She didn't know why, but she felt like this dog had been meant for her. After hours, Dr. Reeves came out. "He made it. He's a fighter." Elena cried, not just from relief, but from something deeper. A bond formed through frost and fear and faith. The next morning, Lily's mother arrived at the hospital. A woman with tear-streaked cheeks and shaking hands ran to her daughter's side. "She wandered off, looking for her dad," the woman explained, choking on every word. "He died last year. She thought he was out in the woods." Lily whispered, "But Scout stayed with me. He kept me warm." The doctors said Scout likely saved her from freezing to death. Elena showed the mitten and the note to the mother, who burst into sobs. That piece of paper, that crumpled, almost unreadable message, had been Lily's last hope, and Scout had carried it for miles. News spread fast. "A dog saves a lost girl in Montana wilderness." The story went viral. Videos, interviews. But Elena kept most of it quiet. She only cared about two things: Lily's recovery and Scout's. Weeks later, Scout lay in the recovery pen, his leg bandaged, his eyes still golden and warm. Elena sat beside him every night. She brought him food, read books aloud, even played soft music. Then one night, as she sat reading beside him, he nudged her hand and placed his paw over her wrist. It was like he was saying, "You found me too." Elena smiled through her tears. "I'll never let you go, Scout." Spring came late to the forests of Montana, but with it came healing. Scout's fur had grown back over the scar on his leg, and though he still walked with a slight limp, his spirit was unshaken. Elena watched him chase butterflies in the meadow behind the ranger station, free at last from pain and fear. But Scout wasn't the only one who had healed. Elena, once guarded and withdrawn, now smiled more, spoke softer, and laughed easier. It wasn't just the forest she protected anymore. It was the silent bond between lost souls who found each other. One quiet morning, Lily and her mother came to visit. The little girl's face lit up when she saw Scout. He ran to her, tail wagging like he'd never known pain. Lily threw her arms around him and whispered, "I knew you'd be okay." Elena knelt beside them. "He saved you, Lily. He wouldn't stop until someone listened." The girl reached into her coat pocket and pulled out the repaired mitten. He never let go of this. Months passed. Scout became a local legend. The Park Service gave him an honorary badge and a new tag that read, "Scout, Guardian of the Lost." He rode beside Elena on patrols, resting his head on her lap as they drove. He would still occasionally stop in the forest, stare into the trees, and sniff the air, as if remembering the path he once took alone. One day, a hiker went missing. Search teams fanned out. Scout, now older and slower, perked up the moment Elena read the alert. She looked at him. "You want to try?" He barked once, firm and confident. They set out together, and once again, Scout led. His steps were slower, but his nose was steady. Hours later, they found the hiker, sprained ankle, dehydrated, frightened. Scout lay beside him, tail thumping. The man, dazed, whispered, "That dog, he just knew." Back at the ranger station, Elena pinned a photo of Scout next to the search map. Dozens of pins marked lives he'd helped save. But one photo remained her favorite, the one of him curled up beside Lily in the hospital, her hand resting on his fur. It reminded her of something Dr. Reeves once said. There are some animals who don't just survive. They find us when we need them most. Years passed. Scout grew older, his muzzle graying. His runs became strolls. His barks became softer. But his eyes never lost that glow, that purpose. When his time finally came, he was lying by the fireplace, Eleanor's hand resting gently on his back. He looked up at her, licked her fingers once, then let out a long, peaceful breath. Tears streamed down her face. "Thank you, Scout, for finding me too." She buried him beneath a tall pine overlooking the trail where they first met. A small wooden sign marked the spot. Scout, the dog who wouldn't let go. And in the seasons that followed, hikers said that sometimes on misty mornings they'd see a golden blur at the edge of the woods, watching, waiting, guiding. The legend lived on, and so did the love.